Hello there, my name is Anthony Burokas from Stream for Us. I am very excited to tell you about a very cool new tool. It is the Mevo Start. This teeny little camera. We're going to take a really good look at this, especially with regards to higher end, not streaming directly from here, but higher end NDI based production. This little box has several key features that I am very excited about. First, it is battery powered. It's got its own battery built in. It has NDI built in. It has an audio jack on the back, and you can remotely control this camera at the same time that it's feeding NDI. That's not possible anywhere else. But let's take a tour of this camera. First of all, I am switching this live, so bear with me while I do things. I am using vMix right here in front of me, and the camera is wireless. It is, the green light says, it's on the network. It is Wi-Fi to my local area network. And at the same time, I have over here, I have a phone that is controlling the Mevo, and it is also sharing this screen so that I can cut to the controller screen. And you can see that as I go here, I can reframe the shot. This is the Mevo app. So what I'm doing in the upper right-hand corner up here, I'm trying to use the app to show you. Up here, that's the view of the camera. So if I were to cut to the actual camera view, this is the actual camera. And while I zoom with my fingers on the screen, it changes the shot that exits out of the camera. Sounds pretty, yeah, that's what they do. This is amazing. I don't want to belabor this point, but I will. This is amazing. You could spend thousands of dollars for a camcorder, a professional or prosumer camcorder that has NDI in it. And then you will pay hundreds of dollars to activate NDI in that camera. This camera costs a very affordable rate, and NDI is already activated in the camera. I don't have to pay anything extra. Now, in that other camera, that prosumer camera that we were talking about a moment ago, I paid for it and then I paid extra. Now I've got NDI. Now, over NDI from the controlling app, unlike a pan-tilt zoom camera where I can control zoom and focus and iris and shutter and white balance, very common camcorder things, over NDI with a camcorder, you can't control any of that, even after you spend thousands of dollars. The Start, which you're looking at right here, I have an app, and this app will let me change the color. I'm just, tapping a couple different things here. I'm doing this wirelessly from the app right now, and I'm doing what $1,000 camcorders can't do. So this is what makes me very excited about this camera. NDI, remote control, compact form factor, no extra payment for NDI. Plus, this also has USB-C on the back. Now, we are Wi-Fi in this office here. This is working over Wi-Fi. But if you're in a situation where this thing is going to need to be out, deployed in front of a stage for a conference all day long, 12 hours, it's got a USB-C in the back. And I've got one over here. Okay, I don't have the exact adapter, but this is an Ethernet to USB-A. This is a very common thing to get Ethernet or gigabit onto devices that don't have gigabit, but do have USB 3. This is not Mevo's adapter. I'm just holding this as a sample. Mevo makes an adapter, kind of like this, that is power over Ethernet. Meaning you can run power over the Ethernet cable to the camera, which could be 200 feet away. Power over Ethernet to the camera. And it powers the camera all day long. And then, because you've got that Ethernet connection, it will also pass the camera signal, NDI, back to your network. Meaning that you don't have to worry about Wi-Fi. You don't have to worry about any sort of, interference or glitches because the signal is back on a wire. Again, NDI is like a broadcastable signal, and it passes over Ethernet, not HDMI, not SDI, NDI. I know they kind of sound the same. Anyway, back to this camera. I'm just glossing over some of the stuff that I think is really good. I'm talking to the camera right now, and oh, I should zoom in on me when I'm being very. It's so good. Wait, zoom in tighter. Zoom back out. So let us look at the interface of the Mevo app that I'm using to control this camera. So here we are. You can see over on the left here. No, the other way. Over here is this NDI button. That's actually like a streaming button. So if you tap that, you'll see it says, you can't stream because you're doing NDI. I can only do one stream at a time. You can't do all these things. So we're going to cancel that. I don't want to stream. I'm using NDI. But you can see built in, it can stream to all these different places. It can just record internally. Don't forget that. Put it in a micro SD. This camera will record internally at a very high data rate. You can actually, let's tap on that. Record to SD. Let's go to advanced settings. Oh, HEVC. Look at that. Full 1080 and the bit rate. Let's go to 40 megabits a second. Let's not dink around here. Done. So I'm not going to record, but I could. And we're going to close those settings because don't need them. I'm recording to vMix. Next, over here, we have the, right there, we're going to click on that button. And that brings up the Vimeo producer subscription. So if you are going to use this to stream directly to a content delivery network of all those that we saw already, you can do video mixing in this device itself. That's not really what I'm focused on here. That's what other reviewers have talked about that. That's not what my focus is about. I'm more focused about using the Mevo Start as part of a multicam live switch production. Now, you can use the Mevo as a live switch production with overlay graphics and all this other stuff as part of a $15 a month subscription to Vimeo Producer, which of course gets you into Vimeo as well. We're going to close this. And Vimeo has lots of capabilities in Vimeo. So you're taking advantage of Vimeo as well as taking advantage of this. So you've got lots of cool things there. Next, we're going to click on the, sorry, I can't ever remember where this button right here, the multi-view. Click on that, and you can see I've got, you're looking at the same thing I'm looking at right here. It is basically face and wide. It labeled those. I didn't label those. In case you didn't know, that was the face and the other one is wide. But what it lets you do is let you tap between the two and you're switching. So let me cut to the actual camera view. This is the NDI feed from the camera. So cut to wide, cut to close up, cut to wide, cut to close up. Great feature. If you've got one of these in front of a podium, you don't have to like, oh, I wish I could get closer, but the only way to get there is to zoom in. Nope. Cut to wide, blah, 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 blah. Something very important. Cut to close up. There it is. That's how I'm doing the live switch in the app for the camera right now. So we are going to close this, cut, and we're going to close that. And now you can see where the close view is. I want to show you the, where is it? Here we go. On the left button. Nope. The left button over here. Auto. Now this is a familiar feature if you've been around for Mevo for a while. Because Mevo has this cropped box that's around my face right now, they also include the intelligence to just follow the face. So we're going to activate that. We're going to pop this up and it says find faces. Obviously you see the circle around my face. That means that's a face. It found it. We're going to do live follow and you activate autopilot and how fast you want it to track. Now we are going to cut back to the camera view and bring this down, zoom in. Now if I sort of move over here, oh, it cut out. So why is it not following me? Did I activate it? We're going to activate autopilot again. Close that. There we go. There we go. So it cut wide but it's doing this on its own. I'm not telling it to cut into a close-up. I'm not telling it where to zoom. My hand is right here. And it's following me. Actually, I'm surprised that it kept tracking me because my hand was in the shot. That would kind of throw off many things. Now, you're going to notice it looks a little soft right now. And I'm pretty sure I know why that is. We'll cut to my webcam. Now, you can see the webcam looks nice and sharp. When you cut to the Mevo, the background is sharp, but I'm closer. I'm literally within 2 feet of the camera, and I am pretty sure that the camera is not designed to be this close. You're not going to want to get that kind of close, super close. I think it's designed to be about 4 feet away, so you can see the edge of my backdrop here looks more in focus than my hair does. So that's about 4 feet away from the Mevo. So while the webcam is going to be nice and clear and in focus at close distances, it's designed to be on top of a laptop about this far from someone. It's not designed to be a far away camera. The Mevo, I think, is designed to be more of a far away camera. Let's zoom out a little bit. That's a little too close. And as you can see, it's doing its little auto tracking. Okay, you know what? I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn that off right here. Let's go into the settings, cut. So we will go into here and I will turn off autopilot and the live follow. Okay. And actually I'll turn that off to stop looking at the circle on my face. That's the built-in camera assistant. And I can see that being very useful, but also you have the ability to have those multi-views even without the camera assistant. So you don't have to worry about not having the ability to punch in. But what the assistant does is if you've punched in and the person who's standing at a podium moves to stand next to the podium, it's going to follow them, as opposed to you might be doing something else and you look over and you've just got an empty screen because they've left the screen. That's what that fixes, and that's very cool. Next up, let's look at audio, which is right there. So we bring that up. You can see it's got an audio mixer built in to the camera. Now, initially you might be saying, well, why is there an audio mixer? I mean, look, you can see right there, it says Mevo aux. It only has one input. And technically that's true. You can set it to mic level or line level. So if you're getting a board feed or something like that, you can set it up for that. It's got an audio adjustment. I can bring it way down and then the audio is lower. And then I can bring it a little higher and you can see here the background noise. So it's not the cleanest audio. And then I can on and off right there. And then there's an output. Why is there a separate output if I really only have this one thing? And that's because, we'll scroll up here, you can add more external microphones with the Mevo Mic app to turn any phone into a microphone. And I think that is a really innovative little thing in that you can have deployed several of these apps on phones, and you can have a microphone over here and a microphone over there, and you can have microphone on 2 different people, a host and a guest, and you can then mix the volume of the different sources independently. It's an audio mixer too. That's pretty slick. Cut. We're going to bring that down. Next up is the one that I am pretty darn excited about. We talked about it early on. This is the color control, painting the camera. Let's open that up. So here, you can see the adjustments. What I'm doing is I am in, what mode am I in? I am in vivid mode over here. I can tap this and I can turn it on to high contrast, flat, black and white, and vivid, and sepia. Why? I don't know, but it's there. So let's go back into vivid. Also, you can go normal mode. You can have a stage mode where it's, you're going to have a single bright thing, so you don't want to overexpose. You can have backlit. You can have outdoors, different general presets. And then over here is custom. And what custom lets you do is you have a whole row of settings on this top bar here. So you can choose your camera mode is going to be shutter or manual. We'll go into manual and adjust your shutter. We can increase that shutter, and then you see the effects take place instantly. Now, if you're doing a chroma key, having a fast shutter is actually really good, because what it does is it makes for a very staccato image. There's less blur. If you've got a slow shutter, then your fingers blur a lot more, and it makes it really hard for the computer to be able to cut the background out. It's good to know that. Here's your ISO. We're going to actually increase the shutter back up, and then we're going to increase the ISO. Let's go to 3200. Now you can see it looks a little blurry here, but let's go back to the actual camera feed. Oh, and let's go, let's add a little bit more contrast to this. It's a little better. The white balance we'll get to in a second. So you can see that even up to 3200, the detail in the ceiling tiles is still pretty good. Let's go back down to like 800. You can definitely see there's more detail in the individual ridges in the sound tiles now. And if I go to 1600 and 3200, it's starting to blur together because of the image compression and, you know, the noise reduction happening. And this will go up to 6400, which is kind of crazy actually. Let's go to 1/240th of a second. Let's go a little darker. So here we go. This is the highest ISO it goes. You can see I've lost a lot of the detail in some of these tiles. And image is actually, oh, okay, because I've got other data going on. Just got a notification. It was funny that on my cell phone, kind of, right as that came into my cell phone, I got that visual glitch. Interesting. So you can see a little bit of detail being lost up here with the super high, but I'm at ISO 6400, and I would not expect a camera this small with a sensor this teeny to have this clean an image at 6400. I would expect something way, way noisier, because, you know, you're almost essentially talking like webcam type sensor, but this thing actually looks surprisingly good. So we are going to go back down to ISO 400, and then we are going to decrease that shutter again. There we go. And now you can see that looks a lot cleaner. Lower ISO is a cleaner image. Now, obviously I've got a little bit of motion blur, but because I'm not keying this, doesn't matter. Next, we're going to come up to white balance. And this is one thing I think the Mevo can do a little bit better in. If I open this up, I can choose between automatic, which is what I'm in, tungsten, fluorescent, daylight, and cloudy. And I have the same settings in my webcam. I have the same settings in other devices. And honestly, that's not enough settings. If I want manual control, what I really need is I need the ability to, the whole color temperature is a slider. And then I need a separate slider for tint, because something might be a little bit too green versus a little bit too purple in the face. I need to be able to adjust both the color temperature and the tint, both of those, you know, up, down, left, and right. Right now, if I go between auto actually looks pretty good, but the problem is my face is still a little blue because of sunlight coming in from the window here. If I could just take it and make it a little bit warmer, it would look awesome. So if I sit here and say, you know what? I've got daylight. No, that's not working. Maybe to go to cloudy. Not much different. Wait, let's go to fluorescent. Not much different. Okay, well, what does tungsten look like? Yeah, that's not good. So auto seems to be able to find a little bit of a balance, but not enough. And we really need to have more control, because very seldom do we have absolute complete control of all of the light coming into an area. If we do, then this is great. If not, I need the ability to do a little bit more tweaking of the color of the white balance. We have manual brightness, contrast, saturation. I can increase the saturation. Ooh, that's really blue. Maybe not so much. Contrast, I already brought the contrast, and you can bring the brightness down a little bit. Next, we have metering, where you can have crop metering or do meter the whole scene. Maybe that'll help with the white balance. Not really. And anti-flicker is important if you are filming in a region where the AC is different than what the camera is expecting. So if you're in the US, it's 60 Hertz. If you're in Europe and other countries, it's 50 Hertz. Being able to adjust the settings of the camera to reduce potential flicker of screens or lights is important. And then your exposure settings are center, average, and spot. And that's it. And that really does wrap up the manual adjustments. I actually find I kind of liked vivid, which means it puts it back into auto there and puts it into vivid. And then I can adjust the exposure. It looks a little bit too bright for me, so I'm going to bring this down a little bit. It's doing a really soft adjustment, which is actually kind of interesting. It's not clicking. So let's go down one whole stop. And then we will cut over here. And that actually looks pretty good. Again, I wish I could make it a little bit less blue, but I think what's happening is it's seeing the indoor incandescent light reflecting off of this studio light I have up here. And it's seeing that and saying, oh, the main source is tungsten. I better swing to tungsten, but then this blue light that's coming on me is not registering as strong, and it's just coming out blue. But again, having the ability to adjust the exposure in the device is amazing. Next up, video clips. So if you want to be able to, I already recorded a video clip on the camera while I was, doing testing, and I can play that back. So you've got like a little video mixer in here as well. Next up, you have your gear settings for all of your video settings. You can see I'm down to 18% on the battery. I've been going on for over 2 hours. Your network, live streaming settings. I don't have any of that set up. Audio and video. You can change your frame rate, your recording, iPhone audio, USB mix channels, maximum zoom. App settings, show your output overlay, Mevo settings. This is where you can set a password. I always recommend setting a password so that nobody else can log into your device and mess with it. Power on off with USB cable. See, that would be pretty cool, so that you can use your power over Ethernet, and this camera will power on when the power over Ethernet comes in. And then if you turn off that power over Ethernet switch, then all of your cameras will turn off. And of course, it'll auto turn off as well. Let's go back, storage, and here's my NDI mode. I am doing 720p at 7.5 megabits a second. Because I'm using it, I can't change it. But it will actually do 1080, and it will do a more respectable bit rate as well. And you know what? I'm actually going to do a little test and drop that in just to see how it does with the ceiling tiles that we were talking about before. Wired webcam mode, which again, I would say that this might not be the best webcam, because webcams are designed to be close, and this does not have the ability to pull the focus. Maybe it does, it's just not in the app, but we'll see how that works as well. And then your basic settings there. Bring that down, and then this closes the settings. So you can see that this has a lot of capability. So let me switch this right now. I'm going to turn off the NDI, and I'm going to switch it to 1080, and I'm going to switch it to a much higher bit rate to see if I get better results with those things up there. All right, in a matter of like 20 seconds, I disabled NDI, and then I changed the settings to 1080, and I went up to 15 megabits a second, which is the high bit rate for 1080. And this is what we're looking at now. Now, this is a 1080 feed coming in over NDI, and I think it actually does look a bit crisper. I'm looking at it on the vMix preview screen here, so it's a little 5-inch display on my laptop. So I'm going to hold judgment until looking at the actual finished video full screen and be able to know whether 1080 at a high bit rate is going to be dramatically different than 720p at a low bit rate, but I'm going to guess probably yes. So to sum up, I have to say that this camera is amazing. I am very impressed. And just to reiterate why I am impressed with this camera, I have done this whole show and it's not even hot. This thing has been on for over 2 hours and I still have some battery left. It's been completely battery operated, completely wireless, streaming the whole time. And I could have done, you know, a luncheon conference with this thing and deployed a bunch of these across the floor and switched between them. And the cool thing is the ability to zoom in, but also to reframe the shot, which, as I was saying before, even if I paid thousands of dollars for a camcorder with NDI in it and then paid hundreds of dollars more to activate NDI, I can't zoom in. I can't tell over NDI that camera to zoom in, whereas with the Mevo Start, I can. Ready? I am going to tell it to zoom in. There. Zoom in on my face. Well, you can't see my face, but that's my crop shot. You can't do that with a big camcorder. I can do that with the Start. The ability to remotely control the paint settings, the color temperature, the shutter speed, and things like that is very handy as well. I mean, these are features you're not going to get in more expensive cameras. And you get them in the Start without having to pay hundreds of dollars extra for the NDI capability. Plus the wireless built-in, plus the ability to do power over Ethernet, plus the microphone input. Plus, if you come down to it, you can actually stream from this thing by itself. And the price point for all of these features is, by and large, on par with just activating NDI in one of those big camcorders. Now, honestly, this does not have a 20x zoom. This does not have a 10x zoom. This has a nothing x zoom. It is a single sensor, and you're cropping in on the sensor. That said, it looks pretty good. I can cut to, ready, cut. There. This is the full crop from the Mevo right now, and it actually does look a lot better on my hair, and the background looks really good. This is the 1080 crop, so definitely go with 1080 at 15 megabits a second. Definitely go with that. This looks really good. This is the full, yeah, it doesn't get any tighter than that, and I'll bring this down a little bit. I'm reframing on the phone. So the ability to have that closer shot from a camera that's further away, and then to be able to zoom out and then reframe smoothly. And then he turns this way. Oh, let me reframe over here. There we go. Oh, he turned this way. Well, let me reframe over there. Okay. So I think this really demonstrates that this camera has a lot of really valuable features at a price point that you're not going to find anywhere else. So with that, I give this a definite thumbs up. The Mevo Start tiny all-in-one camera. I am liking it a lot. My name is Anthony Burokas for Stream For Us. Thank you for watching.